Oh my god, my gout is back in my right foot this morning. I have no idea why. Kind of acted up a little bit last night. It's just kind of aching. But I just woke up from the pain. For those of you that don't know, it's little crystals that form in the joints. And this morning, it's in the joint, primarily my big toe. You can see the whole freaking foot swelling up. And it's kind of hard to see in real life, but in the camera you can see that it's much redder. But you can see it's just puffed up, and it's puffed up from all the irritation. It feels pretty much like a broken bone. It's really hard to walk on, so I'm heading it off right now. You can take special gout medicine for it that's real targeted, or you can do a real big dose of ibuprofen. And luckily that usually works for me. I haven't had this in, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 months, something like that. I don't know what triggered it this time, but oh my god. Yeah, gotta fix it.
Well, it's about 2 in the afternoon, and my gout has finally started to desist. Man, I'll tell you what, I haven't gotten that in a while, and it hasn't been bad in many years. And I'm still trying to figure out exactly what triggers it. Sometimes I think it's not all about what you eat. Usually, it's about way too much beer, way too much red meat, or something else that I don't even eat. But there are certain chemicals in it that will trigger it. And the only red meat I've had in literally since I can remember is half a bowl of the chili I made. I mean, that was it, just a little stew meat. That didn't do it, and that was days ago. And too much beer? No. Had like 2 beers in the last week. That doesn't do it. I mean, it takes a lot of concentrated dosage to do it. But that definitely used to trigger it for me because I used to drink a hell of a lot more beer. And, I would go through 6, 7, 8 of them in a day. And the next morning it'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, the beer did it. So that I could understand. But that was years ago. For those of you that don't know what gout is, to me it always sounded like some old person's disease. When I first, I'll tell you the funny story in a bit about how I first got it, or not got, it's not a disease, it's a condition. It's just chemical. To me it always had the stigma of being some old person's disease, but no, it has nothing to do with age. It just has to do with chemicals in the body. Let's see, this happened probably 7, 8 years ago. It was right after we moved in here. It was the first time I had an experience with it. And before I tell you that, more backstory to tell you why this other story was funny. I had severe back disc issues for many years. And I lived with excruciating pain 24/7 for several straight years. And if anyone watching has real bad disc issues, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But basically, even women say it's worse than giving delivery. It is one of the most excruciating pains that you can ever experience. It felt like someone had a hot knife into my spine. It was just twisting it 24/7. I mean, that's as close as I can describe it to anyone that hasn't felt it. It is debilitating. You can't move. You sometimes will fall to the floor and cannot move physically. And that's it, 24/7. That's what you're living with. So what the brain does with that or any other kind of repetitive, consistent, long-term pain, it resets your pain threshold because the brain can't cope with that constant signal delivery of you should be hurting, you should be hurting, you should be hurting. It's an electrical thing. Nothing to do with your mental state or anything. It's just electrical. The body will adapt. So after months and years, it keeps raising that bar of, okay, after this point, send a pain signal. After this point, send a pain signal. After this point. So the physicality is still there, but the brain isn't receiving it. So that's how you're able to live with agonizing, constant 24/7 pain. Otherwise, you couldn't sleep. And there were certainly days where without prescribed narcotics, I couldn't physically sleep. That's just the way it goes. So anyway, by the end of that, I mean, my pain threshold, and still today, it's through the roof. So I feel a lot of things, but don't experience the signal to the head of pain. So this is why this next story is kind of funny, and it was certainly more reset back then than it is now. It's things still don't really bother me now, but I can tell it's slowly going back to normal. It does reset back down to where it should be for most humans. So one night I'm going to the kitchen. It's middle of the night. All the lights are off in the house. I'm walking back. I don't remember what I had in my hand or whatever, but walking pretty fast through the living room, and there's a corner we take to go back to the bedroom, and we've got this big. Well, we had a different one there, but it was a table in front of the couch. What's it called? Oh my God, brain fart. Chloe, no bark. Come here. Coffee table. Hey, that's it. And I'm walking through, and I swing. Chloe, come here. What are you barking at? I think she heard the FedEx guy. And I walk, take a step with my right leg, bam, right in. I mean, just as I'm swinging forward, worst arc possible, right into the leg of the table. And it hurt. I mean, the worst stub toe you can imagine. It was the perfect circumstances for me. Like, oh, son of a... Hobble back to bed. That's smart, you know? Oh, man, it was throbbing. So, went to sleep, got up in the morning. I don't remember if I woke up from the feeling or noticed it when I put my foot down, but I broke my toe. And I had broken enough bones. I know what broken bones feel like. And it didn't really, I wasn't screaming in pain or anything like most people would if you broke a bone. But, it hurt. I'm like, oh, crap. I'm pissed because of the inconvenience, right? I'm looking down at things like a stuffed sausage, can't flex it, can't move it, can't touch it. All right, that's the thing with gout. Just touching it. Oh, searing pain. So I'm like, crap. Go to the doctor. Long story short, go for x-rays. Nothing. Perfect bones. I'm like, how can that be? Look, it's broken. I can't even touch it. Come back to the doctor. Oh, that's gout. I'm like, what the hell is gout? So he tells me, and basically it's a buildup of very sharp, needle-shaped crystals in the fluid between joints, and it usually happens at the extremities like the big toe. I don't know exactly why, but it does. And it can travel up a little bit to the foot near the ankle. Usually it's by the big toe, sometimes the other couple toes, but that's just where it likes to grow. And these little sharp crystals, I mean, they're physically pointy, sharp. And they start growing enough, and they start poking out, and they hit other things like your joint and your muscles and your bone and your ligaments, and they hurt. I mean, it's like a bunch of little needles inside poking you. And of course, that inflames everything around it because the body's like, what are you doing, man? So it's pumping blood down there. Everything else swells up, and that makes it worse because it pushes everything down against the crystals. So it's a really bad cycle. So the crystals themselves will dissolve, will go away after you get rid of whatever triggered them to grow. And like I said, in most cases, that's a lot of red meat or a lot of beer or both. But the main thing you can do is get down the swelling. Now, what they give you is special medicine for gout, which is basically just steroid pills, which are extremely good for taking down swelling. They're anti-inflammatories. Or if you don't want to go to the doctor and get a prescription, you can take a buttload of ibuprofen. And I took a huge dose. I'm not even going to tell you how much because it's really unhealthy. But I know my body can handle it because I was on those kinds of doses. I'm talking thousands of milligrams a day for years from my back. Luckily, my stomach never had a problem with ibuprofen. A lot of people are very sensitive to it. It's terrible for your liver, especially long term. I'm not even going to suggest you do it. So if you can, go get the gout medicine. But I know I've done it long enough for acceptance. So I took the ibuprofen, and it did really help. It took a few hours here, but finally I can flex the toe a little bit. That's it. But you can see the major swelling is going down. It's not red like an apple anymore. So, and I can tell the pain is coming way down, because the swelling itself pushing against those crystals, that's what really pops it into your head. So I'll take another dose here, probably an hour or so, and I should be good, because whatever triggered it's gone. I mean, I still don't know what did it, but anyway, that's been my adventure this morning. Really sorry. It's been, like I said, almost a year at least. I don't remember if I had one since I started HLO. I seem to remember once, but I don't remember. I usually get it like once a year, and you know, it hasn't been really bad since that very first time since I learned about it. And it's something that once you learn about it, you learn how to avoid it, because you don't want it coming back. It's just really annoying. I'm glad it happened today, though, because I don't have any appointments. I was going to call the roofer, but it's still dripping, so I'm not going to call him yet. And tomorrow I'm speaking in Tampa, so that would be really annoying, having to, you know, be all dressed up and standing up there talking with people and hobbling around. So I'll be fine tomorrow. Anyway, got a lot of computer work to do today, and need to make a couple videos. Got beautiful 80s weather, got the AC running. This is just, I wish it was this weather every day, because it's low humidity, got a beautiful breeze going, almost not a cloud in the sky. It's nice. Beautiful Florida winter. Sorry, everybody. All right, guys. Well, I'm calling it a night. Not too much happened today, and foot's starting to really feel better. I think it'll be all set for tomorrow. And tomorrow I am speaking at another networking group, so I will be gone half the day. The roofer wanted to come tomorrow. I said, no, not available, but I am Wednesday, so he's going to plan to be over here Wednesday, put on a whole new flashing and edge drip thing and yada, yada, yada. So that'll be cool. Not much else going on. So that's it. See you tomorrow.